Hey everyone, this is Friedel Hakureja Raven. I'm here with my recap and review of Hightown season number 2, episode number 5, which is titled which relates to the dots you see when you notice that someone is typing a message, a text, and yeah, you just wait for the dots to end so that the message arrives. And I guess a whole lot of us can relate to the feeling that when it comes to you're seeing the dots on the phone, and then the dots disappear and the message never came. Like, yeah, so the entire thing relates to Jackie's relationship with Leslie. Trouble happened. So, quick recap. In the previous episode, which I wasn't able to do a recap and review of, in the previous episode, we saw that Alan and Ray are working together to try and figure out more about Charmaine and how she's working with Frankie and Jorge. They even went to her aunt's house, and she was already there with her sister. So yeah, Charmaine is she's very smart. And while that's happening, we get to see Leslie and Jackie get an in over at Xavier's because yeah, they know that Jorge is pimping Daisy out, so they're like, you know what, our best bet is Daisy. So they end up using Ron in order to get to Daisy, and it works. So Daisy might end up being a mole for them or a contact. Who knows? They also warned Renee about Jorge pimping out girls from Xavier. So Renee is like, you know what? Thanks for the tip. Now, also, what did I miss? Let's see. We had Renee. We had, yeah, I guess that's it, right? Ray, yeah. So yeah. Anyway, oh yes, Osito is fully working with Charmaine. Because Charmaine talked to Osito about basically uh, delivering drugs to jail. Osito's like, yeah, I can do that, and yeah, it's just bad because Osito is also working with the physiotherapist, and while he's working with the physiotherapist, he ends up meeting this guy who is going to rehab and all of that stuff in jail. And Osito's like, you know what, we can attack the vulnerable who are going to rehab, and we can sell them drugs. And I'm like, Osito, that's a very bad move. That's a very low move. So coming to episode number 5, it opens up with basically Jackie being all lovey-dovey with Leslie because in the previous episode, Jackie ended up allowing Leslie to do it to her, which really showed Jackie opening herself up to Leslie. Yeah, Jackie has fallen hard. She's basically in love with Leslie, and I'm like, this is going to get complex. And it does. So yeah, Leslie's like, I have a job, I have to go. I'll talk to you later. And she kisses Jackie goodbye, and Jackie ends up picking up her phone because Daisy is her contact. She's like, "This is Jackie," one of her last messages, and then she's like, "Hey, you good?" Checking in. So she's checking in on Daisy because she wants more information about Frankie and Jorge. She basically wants Jorge's contact number and Charmaine's contact number. So Daisy gets the message, but before she can reply, she notices this bouquet of roses, and I'm like, Jorge is going to try and make her forgive him, especially because Jorge ended up punching Daisy in the face in the previous episode because he was angry at her. And I'm like, oh, Daisy, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. But Daisy falls for it because Jorge is like, I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean to do it. It won't happen again. I don't deserve you. And he ends up gifting this expensive piece of jewelry. It's a bracelet to Daisy, and yeah, Daisy got, yeah, she Jorge has gotten to her, and I'm like, Daisy, this is trouble. You're going to get in trouble. And at first I was like, maybe Daisy is going to keep on receiving gifts from Jorge and still talk to Jackie, but no, she ends up deleting Jackie's contact info from her mobile phone, and I'm like, yep, Daisy, that's bad. You are going to get in trouble. And that's what happens later down in the episode. So Ellen goes to one of those lodges where Charmaine and her sister were staying at, and he ends up meeting up with this dude, and he questions the dude about Charmaine and the sister, and also Frankie and Jorge. And the guy is like, "Yep, I know about Charmaine. She was here a few weeks ago, or maybe it's months. I'm not really sure, but she isn't here anymore." And he also recognizes Jorge coming to meet Charmaine, and Ellen is like, "Thank you," and he ends up paying the dude. So Ellen goes and meets up with Ray, and Ray is like, "Yeah, without a police badge, it turns out that people from minority communities aren't really open to getting questioned." And And yeah, Ellen is like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's a fun little interaction, basically talking about real life prejudices and the police system and all of that stuff. So they're like, they're sharing information, and they're like, you know what, Charmaine isn't here anymore, so where could she be? Ray is like, yeah, I have no idea. So it turns out that Charmaine and her sister are basically living in this very, very expensive house now, and they're playing, I think it's Mortal Kombat, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, they're playing the game, and this is where Charmaine gets a call from Osito, and Osito is like, "So what's up? You wanted me to start selling drugs in jail, so I'm ready. What about you?" And both of them speak in code, where basically Charmaine tells Osito that by 3:30 he'll find a stack of drugs in the garden, so he needs to get to it and fast. And Osito's like, I'll do that. And I'm like, Osito, you're going to try and sell these drugs to people who are in recovery. Like, don't. So Renee is on her way to Planned Parenthood because she won't be keeping the baby. And as she's on her way, because she's talking to one of the people from Planned Parenthood, she ends up bumping into another car, and she gets out. She's angry at the driver, and she's like, "If anything happens to my baby, I'm going to kill you." And I'm like, "Oh, wait, Renee, what did you just say?" So the entire scene basically showed that Renee is actually is she's attached to her unborn child, because she's pregnant right now, and she ends up calling Planned Parenthood again, and she's like, "I won't be able to make it to my appointment," and the person is like, "Would you like to reschedule?" And Renee is like, "No, I'm going to keep the baby." And I'm like, Renee, this is going to get you in so much trouble. Like, but yeah. So we cut to Osito walking with his physiotherapist, and they're talking and they're bonding with each other, basically developing their relationship. And again, I'm like, Osito, even though you're friendly to this professional woman, I know what you're up to. I know what you're up to. So we cut to Alan and Ray. They're having lunch. And this is where both of them basically talk about their dynamic right now. Because, yeah, Alan has issues with Ray, and Ray understands that. But Ray is also like, "But Alan, you and I make a good team. I help you with a lot of cases, and I can help you with this case as well. So you need me." And Alan is like, "Yeah, I guess so." So he ends up getting a call from Jackie, and Jackie's like, "I've got information I want to share with you, so meet me." And Alan is like, "Yeah, I'll meet you." And before they go, Ray is also like, "You know what? You need to take me with you. Again, as I said, we work well together. We are a team. I'm coming with you." So all three of them meet together, and this is where Jackie tells Alan and Ray about her mole, basically, or contact, basically, in Xavier's. And she's like, "Yeah, it's Daisy." And Daisy is the one who told me that basically Frankie and Jorge are working with a girl called Charmaine. And Alan and Ray are like, "Whoa, we are looking into Charmaine." So everything is connecting. And basically, Charmaine is the person who's basically supplying the drugs to Frankie and Jorge, and then they also have contacts way into New York. And this is a very big case. Ellen is very impressed by Jackie, and as they're talking, Ed ends up calling Jackie, and he's like, "Remember that Scarborough person? Or Score Father, the Scrot Father?" Yeah. I have a lead on him. Basically, a shark is being delivered, and then it will be sent to New York and off to a processing plant. We need to stop it. And I'm like, I have a feeling that this entire shark thing is also connected to Charmaine somehow, because Charmaine's drugs do have a shark on it as its logo. But yeah, I can't really be sure. And also because the drugs that Charmaine is selling are very, very, they are fatal to the person who uses them if they aren't careful. So maybe some ingredient from a shark carcass is involved. Who knows? So Jackie is like, "Alan, can I go?" Alan is like, "Yeah, go. You did well." So we cut to Jorge and Frankie. They're in Xavier's, and this is where Frankie notices Daisy being beat up, and he's like, Jorge, did you do that?" And Jorge is like, "Yeah, I did it. It won't happen again." And Frankie is like, "Do you trust your girl?" And Jorge is like, "Well, you trust your girl. I trust mine." And Frankie's like, "Mm-hmm, mm-hmm." So we get to see this police officer in prison. So basically, he's working with Charmaine. He's the one who tells Osito that he has like 25 seconds to pick up the stack of drugs, and Osito does that. And Osito ends up handing it over to the guy he met in the previous episode, and he's like, "Take it to the kitchen, start working on it so that we can sell it." So Charmaine ends up visiting Jorge and Frankie, and Charmaine is like, "Okay, I know that we guys have only started working, but there's already trouble brewing." And this is where she tells both cousins about Ray and Alan snooping around, and she's like, "Will you guys handle it?" And Frankie and Jorge are like, "Yeah, yeah, we'll handle it." And this is also where Charmaine is like, "You know what, guys? You need to start respecting me more because I'm the head bitch right now. So you need to start respecting me. You need to start treating me with respect and all of that stuff. So go ahead and deal with the Alan and Ray situation." And before she goes, she's like, "You also need to give me 10% waste money." And she's like, and the cousins are like, what's waste money? A waste cut? And Charmaine is like, yeah, well, it's a cut for you guys making me waste my time. And I'm like, Charmaine, I get that you're confident and all of that, but be careful with these cousins. Yeah, but yeah, kudos to the actress because I really liked how she ended up serving during the scene. So Alan gets called into his superior's office. So word has gotten out that Ray has been. He ended up getting into a physical fight with the cousins Frankie and Jorge, and word got out that he is also looking into Charmaine and basically Wayne's family. And he's like, "Alan, do you know anything about it?" And Alan is like, "Yep, I'm partnering up with Ray because we have information about how Charmaine's the one who is basically supplying the drugs to Frankie and Jorge." And the superior is like, I understand that this is important work, but Ray can't be a part of it. Cut him loose." And Alan's like, "Okay, I'll do that." So Ed and Jackie are off to the delivery point, and on their way, Jackie is really into her mobile phone because she's texting Leslie, and Ed is very happy that Jackie is happy. So Daisy is putting on her makeup, and Frankie comes in, and Frankie's like, "Who did this to you? Was it Jorge? Was it Jorge who beat you up?" And Daisy is like, "Yep, it was Jorge. But we have talked, and yeah, if he does it again, it won't. If he does it again, I'll just walk away from him and all of that stuff." And Frankie's like, "You know what, Daisy? I'll look into it. He won't do this ever again." So we are in the prison cell, and this is where the guy that Osito met, he's like, "I have prepared the drugs so we can start selling them." And Osito's like, "You need to be careful, right? I don't want you getting involved in this stuff and basically killing yourself." And the guy is like, "Don't worry about me, it won't happen." So Alan decides to go to Ray because he wants to talk to him face to face about not being able to work with him anymore. And that really hurts Ray because Alan is like, "Ray, what did you think was going to happen?" And Ray is like, "Well, I thought that if I ended up handling or solving this very huge issue, I might be able to get back into force." And Alan is like, "Ray, that's not going to happen. You are never going to come back into the force. So pick a hobby, and I do like you, but this can't continue." And Ray ended up sniffling. Like, I felt sorry for Ray. I think he was very close to crying, and Alan is like, "Dude, are you okay?" Ray is like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll be okay." So Ray ends up going out for fast food, and this is where he ends up meeting Ethan from season number one. And Ethan is like, "Detective Ray," and Ray is like, "Uh huh, uh huh." And Ethan is like, "Well, I do need a new job. Like, I can do more work for you. I really need the $50. So anything." And this is where Ray is like, "Do you know about Charmaine?" And Ethan's like, "Yep, yep, I know." So he ends up handing Ray his order, and he's like, "I'll get off in 30 minutes. So meet me in the back, and I'll connect you with Charmaine, or the person or the guy I know who ends up buying from Charmaine." And of course, Ray is very excited about it. So it's time for Daisy to go out on a date with Jorge, and she's like, "Renee, I need to go out." And Renee is like, okay, okay, you can go out, but be careful about Jorge. He is never going to change no matter how many gifts he gives you." And Daisy is like, "Okay, mom." And she goes away, and I'm like, "Daisy, Daisy, you're walking into danger, girl." So Renee is in Frankie's office, and she has a whole lot of stuff to think about. Frankie walks in, and Frankie's like, "Renee, girl, what's up?" And then Renee is like, "I'm okay. It's nothing. I just got in a little accident in the morning." And this is where Renee ends up being very emotional. She's like, "Frankie, have you ever thought about leaving everything behind, leaving all of this drama and danger behind, and living a simple life? Because I sometimes dream about being a housewife and all of that stuff, and having more children." She's like, "Frankie, do you need another kid?" And Frankie is like, "Can we talk? When you talk about this later?" And I'm like, "Uh-oh, this isn't going to work." Like. Renee can't necessarily start sleeping with Frankie and then say that the kid is his. That won't work. And also because the kid is like very possibly Ray's. So yeah, Renee has a lot of thinking to do. So, where was it? Yeah, Ed, Jackie, and Ron are in the car. They're waiting for the delivery truck to arrive, and because Jackie is on the mobile phone still with Leslie, Ron snooks in, trying to read the text, and this is where Jackie tells Ron that she's hooking up with Leslie, and Ron is jealous and all of that stuff. And yeah, Jackie's like, Leslie, I'm getting bored. And Leslie's like, can I make it better? And Jackie's like, yeah, you can send me a nude picture. And she does. She sends her a topless pic. And Jackie is very excited to see it. And Jackie's like, oh my God, I love you. And then we get to see Leslie with those dots. And then the dots disappeared. And I'm like, oh no, Jackie just said, I love you. And Leslie didn't even respond to it, not even with a laughing emoji or anything. Yeah, this is getting messy. So Jorge takes Daisy to this very huge mansion, a very expensive mansion, and I'm like, is he going to kill her here? What's happening? And yeah, so it turns out that she does end up dying, but it's not Jorge who kills her, it's Frankie. And Frankie just point blank shoots her, and she's dead now. And I'm like, oh Daisy, oh Daisy. And Jorge is like, why did you do it? And Frankie's like, because you couldn't trust her. I basically asked if it was Jorge who ended up punching her in the face, and she admitted to it. So if she can admit it to something this simple, what else is she talking about with other people? And Jorge understands where Frankie is coming from, but he is feeling very sad because he did have feelings for Daisy. And Frankie is like, you know what? You need to get out of here. You need to go back to Xavier's and basically give yourselves an alibi. I'll handle the body. So yeah, while they're waiting for the delivery truck to arrive, and because Leslie isn't responding to Jackie's text, Jackie ends up calling Leslie and basically leaving messages in her answering machine about how she didn't mean that she actually loves Leslie, which is a lie. We know. Jackie's trying to play the entire text off with how, what was it? Let me remember. Yeah, Jackie is trying to say that, you know what, it's just a figure of speech, and she loves her friend, so Leslie and she are friends, right? And yeah, you can tell that Jackie is being an emotional mess, and she doesn't even notice the delivery truck coming to the location, and Ed is like, Jackie, get your head in the game. So the entire team goes in, and Ed starts searching through the tubs, and it turns out that there's no shark in there, there's only fish, and yeah, this was disappointing. So Renee is in the office. Jorge comes in, and this is where Renee and Jorge get into this very, it's a very weird interaction. Like there's anger, there's also Jorge being worried about what had just happened with Daisy, and Renee ends up basically asking Jorge about why he even hates her so much. And Renee is like, is it because I didn't sleep with you like 100 years ago? That's it, right? That's it. And Jorge is like, you know what? Why do you think that I would even want to sleep with you right now after you have been sleeping with everyone else in town? And he ends up taking out his gun in order to intimidate Renee a bit. And Renee is like, okay, so does having this gun make you feel bigger down there? And she ends up taking out a gun as well. And yeah, this entire episode after Daisy's death, like it was chaos upon chaos, because when she places the gun on the desk, it yeah, it shoots itself automatically. It goes off, and Jorge gets shot in the stomach, and Renee is like, "Oh, I didn't mean to." And Jorge is like, call Frankie," and Renee is like, what if I don't? So Renee ends up taking the mobile phones and she runs out of the room. And this is where she remembers that, the office also has a landline. So she goes back in and she picks up the landline. Basically, she's trying to kill Jorge by just letting him bleed out, and that's exactly what she does by closing the door with Jorge shot and bleeding out. He's going to die soon. And Renee, like the entire sequence was very intense, and I really liked how the actress portrayed it. I really liked the entire scene, and I was not expecting Jorge to die. I was not expecting him to die like that. So it turns out that Ethan played Ray, and I think this is Ethan's dad. And these two end up beating up Ray because they're like, you know what? We know that you aren't a cop anymore. Why weren't you going? Were you even going to tell me that? And Ray is in trouble. He gets beat up very, very good. And yeah, at first I was like, are they going to kill him or basically beat him way too much? But no, they give him a good beating and then they just leave. And after a while, Renee decides to open the door to the office, and we get this shot with Jorge's dead body very close to the door. And whoever directed this episode, like kudos to you, because this entire scene would really, really work wonders if you're watching a thriller or a slasher movie. I really liked it. So Renee goes in and she's like, yep, I have to clean up this mess. So she goes out. She comes out of the office and she talks to these two cleaning ladies, and she's like, there's a mess in the office. And a cleaning lady is like, okay, so you want us to clean the office and also get rid of the body? What are you paying us? And yeah, Renee is like, I can pay you a lot of money. And one of the women is like, you know what, 30,000 each. So Renee will have to give $60,000 in order to get rid of Jorge's dead body, and I think she's going to pin all of the lost money on Jorge. I think Renee is going to tell Frankie that Jorge came into the office, stole a whole lot of money, and just ran away with Daisy or something. She doesn't know that Daisy is dead. So the cleaning ladies are like, okay, we'll do that. And Renee decides to walk out of the office, but the cleaning lady is like, that's a very heavy man. You have to help us. And she does. So after that disappointing mission, Jackie and Ed are in the car, and yeah, Jackie, because she's all up in her feelings after because of Leslie not responding to her, she's also angry at Ed, and Ed is frustrated as well. And yeah, these two get into a verbal argument where Jackie is like, Ed, you got played. You literally got played. You didn't even confirm the timestamp on the picture of the shark that you received. And yeah, Ed is like, hey, okay, I messed up. But this is also where Ed calls Jackie out about what she did back in season number 1, and he's like, you know what, the last time you messed up, you basically came very close to ending a woman's life. Did you even say sorry to her? So yeah, it was an interesting interaction in my opinion. So after cleaning up the office, it's time for Renee to go home. But before she leaves, she takes out the shell casing from the gun, and I think she's going to start working on a story. So Renee comes home. Leslie still hasn't answered any of her text or voice messages, and yeah, Jackie, did I say Renee? Yeah, Jackie came back home. And yeah, Leslie hasn't answered any of her text or voice messages, and that's making Jackie transform into an emotional mess. And I'm like, Jackie, I'm like, Ray did warn her, but maybe Leslie ended up being in trouble, and that's why she couldn't reply. Or maybe Leslie also has feelings for Jackie, but she isn't able to accept them right now. Who knows? With only 3 more episodes left, this could get very messy. So Renee is home. Frankie's still asleep, so she gets into the bed. She gets into the bed, and she's very, very worried about what she just did, and also the fact that she decided to keep the baby. So Ray is at home after getting beaten up, and yeah, this is the second time, I guess. Yeah, it was in episode number 1, right, where he decides to take his own life. And this is the second time he's like, you know what, it's over for me. If I'm not a cop, I'm not really sure who I am. So he takes out a gun and he's about to shoot himself when there's a knock at the door. And at first I was like, okay, so who could it be? Is it Ellen coming back? Is it Jackie? Who is it? But no, it turns out it's Renee, and Renee is like, Ray, I want to be with you. And I'm like, okay, more trouble, more trouble. So I guess these two are going to now work together in order to take Frankie down, because Jorge is already off the board. Again, in my opinion, this was a very, very fun episode. A whole lot of unexpected things happened. Like, I was not expecting Jorge to die. I was not expecting Jackie's and Leslie's relationship to basically become a mess this soon. But yeah, let me know what you thought of. And I also wasn't expecting Renee to decide to keep the baby. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the upcoming episodes. Let me know what you thought down in the comment section below. And until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed. See you guys later. Bye.